First at 5, a dangerous situation outside a Lake Worth shopping plaza. A man carrying a rifle is shot and killed by a Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy. It happened around 9:30 this morning at the Hypoluxo Plaza off of Military Trail. Good evening. I'm Tiffany Kenny.
And I'm Felicia Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. We have live team coverage tonight. Steve King is hearing from a business owner and people in the neighborhood about the shooting.
We begin with Angela Rozier with what we're learning from investigators tonight. Angela?
Well, I can tell you right now that the sheriff's office is still trying to get in touch with next of kin so they can release the name of that man who was shot here behind me this morning. Investigators also spent the morning and afternoon talking with witnesses and gathering evidence. Also told they're working with the state attorney's office, and the FDLE will lead this investigation.
The bottom line is the deputy did everything he could to de-escalate this situation.
Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw released this photo of the suspicious man seen in the shopping center. They got multiple calls starting at around 9:28 Thursday morning about a man with a rifle pointing it at cars and threatening people here inside the Hypoluxo Plaza off of Military Trail. The sheriff says at one point the same man also tried to carjack a woman and a child at a nearby Dunkin' Donuts, but was not successful.
She was trying to go to the Dunkin' Donut, use it, and he walks up to the car with the rifle, ordered her to try to get out of the car. I want your car.
The deputies arrived on scene. They located the suspicious male.
And sure enough, he had the shopping cart. There was a rifle that was laying on the ground near the shopping cart and the shotgun in the shopping cart.
The sheriff says deputies repeatedly tried to de-escalate the situation, asking him to get on the ground, let me see your hands. But they say he was jittery and uncooperative.
But the suspect advanced towards the deputy. Deputy again tried to get him on the ground. He reached over, picked up the rifle with the barrel that was pointed downrange at the deputy, and that's when the deputy shot him.
In the past hour, the Orlando Police Department identified the man who they say shot at officers during a traffic stop. Police say 29-year-old Michael Dennis pulled out a gun and started firing at officers during that traffic stop on Orange Avenue and Lucerne Circle. The police chief says an officer fired back multiple times, hitting the driver. Well, it turns out the Orange County Sheriff's Office had a warrant out for Dennis, who they were looking for attempted murder and aggravated stalking charges. No officers got hurt, and the Orlando police officer who returned fire is on administrative leave this afternoon, which is standard protocol. Now, once state police finish their investigation, OPD's internal affairs will do their own.
Good afternoon. I'm Caitlin Heck. Thank you for joining us. New at midday, we're learning new details about the inmate shot to death by a state prison guard inside a Washington County Hospital emergency room. According to the GBI, it happened around 8:45 last night at the Washington County Regional Medical Center. They say Jacob Henson of Canton was being treated for stab injuries after a fight with another Washington State prison inmate. At the hospital, the GBI says Henson grabbed a correctional officer's pepper spray, sprayed a second officer, and then charged at her. That second officer shot Henson, who died in the hospital ER. Henson was 31 years old and from Canton in Cherokee County. He was serving a 10-year sentence for aggravated assault, burglary, and more than a dozen other charges. He was scheduled to be released in 2026.
We now know the name of the suspect killed by a deputy in Rock Hill. The York County coroner identified the man as Richard Zonjic. It happened Sunday. York County deputies say they were trying to serve domestic violence and kidnapping warrants to Zonjic when he barricaded himself inside a home. Investigators say senior deputy Daniel Barfield shot Zonjic during an altercation where he armed himself with a baseball bat. A neighbor shared video of the moments leading up to the shooting, and we want to warn you, it may be difficult to watch.
This is the York County Sheriff's Office SWAT team with an arrest warrant and a search warrant.
They just went by the light, though, in the front door.
It was like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah, it was.
Richard, you need to come to the front door. Follow the instructions of the officers. Out the back door, out the back door.
Zonjic died at the hospital. No law enforcement officers were injured. An autopsy and toxicology report will be completed this week. The case is still under investigation by the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division.
A man is dead after a shooting involving officers outside of a Walmart in Easley.
Tonight, an employee is detailing what happened just moments before inside the store. Our Ray Urana joins us live in Easley with more on this story. Ray.
This young man was just about to clock out after what was up until that point a very uneventful day, but then that's when he says things took a turn for the worst.
First, I was thanking God that, nobody else got hurt.
Jaden Weaver is remembering an eventful day at work on Sunday after a man was shot and killed by Easley police outside of a Walmart on Rolling Hills Circle.
I was like, man, that really just happened. He really did all that.
The 20-year-old works in the sporting goods section, but when his shift was about to end, he saw a man behind the counter.
Regular shoppers aren't supposed to be behind that counter, so almost off the rip when he came around the corner, I was like, okay, yeah, something. He's not supposed to be right there. Most people know that they aren't supposed to be right there.
Police say that man was 33-year-old Sean Elrod. Weaver says Elrod then tried to reach for the keys that unlocks the glass cages holding ammo.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get my team lead just in case. Then the guy came back with a hatchet from our store. He started hitting the lock to the ammo cage. When he was hitting the lock, it wouldn't break for like the first couple of hits.
That's when he says he tried to find help. When he came back,
he already broke the glass, he broke the lock, whatever, everything. He took some ammo. I didn't see what ammo he took.
SLED investigators say Elrod walked outside with a hatchet.
He was telling him, stop, put down the hatchet, stop, everything.
That's when officers shot him. Now Weaver is leaving with a life lesson.
I think it definitely has heightened me to pay attention to my surroundings. If I see something iffy with somebody.
And SLED is investigating this shooting, which is normal when an officer fires their weapon. Live in Easley, Ray Arena, WYFF News 4.
Our top story, police shoot and kill a man accused of hitting 2 officers and running over a woman on the sidewalk. KENS 5's Simone Simpson has the story.
It all started Saturday night around 6:30. Police were called to a home on Cheviot Heights where they found a 51-year-old woman had been hit by an SUV.
It's just a sleepy, kind of a safe, very safe neighborhood.
The normally quiet Northwest Side neighborhood had a flurry of activity Saturday night and early Sunday.
Very seldom have we ever heard of a disturbance, a violent disturbance, or shots fired, anything like that.
Witnesses told police a man in a white BMW SUV drove out of a nearby driveway onto the sidewalk and hit the woman. Then the driver took off.
She's undergoing several surgeries. She's still in critical condition. The detectives obtained a warrant for his arrest, and a couple of officers came out here tonight to see if they could find him.
Several hours later, just after midnight, neighbors called police to tell them the suspect had returned home. Officers tried to contact the suspect, but he tried to leave, putting his SUV into reverse and hitting an officer.
The other officer that was with him fired to stop him, struck him, and he's deceased.
That officer was also injured. Chief William McManus says the suspect was a 42-year-old man who actually lived in the same home as the woman who was hit. Neighbors say this incident is not a reflection of the neighborhood.
Safety is really the #1, I think, a priority for all of us. We all look out for each other.
Police say the woman was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. One officer was taken to the hospital. The other officer was treated at the scene. Simone Simpson, KENS 5.
New information on a homicide suspect shot and killed by an Elizabeth City police officer this weekend. Elizabeth City police say Lieutenant Lamar Battle was on foot patrol when he heard multiple gunshots just before 2 Saturday morning. He approached Brian White and demanded he drop his weapon. Police say White did not comply and was then shot by the lieutenant. White and the shooting victim, Corey Ravel, later died. A 17-year-old was also injured that night, but police are investigating if he was hurt in the homicide or the officer-involved shooting. The teen has been released from the hospital. More information can be found on our website, WITN.com.